Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very special episode of Super Cool Radio. I'm your host, as always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have a great guest joining me at this time, best known as the lead vocalist for the Misfits, appearing on American Psycho and Famous Monsters, recently signed with Epochal Artists Records, and currently on his God Bless America tour. Please welcome Michale Graves.
Hello.
Awesome to have you on the podcast. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, you're welcome. No worries.
So, obviously, as I said in the intro, so you have the current tour, God Bless America tour, going on right now, and you signed with Epochal Artists Records. So, what led to signing with them?
I was introduced to Denny Sanders a bunch of months ago and just trying to figure out how to move forward in the music industry, how I can build upon what, all the things that I had. And I think that once Denny understood my trajectory, where I was trying to do what I was trying to do in music, it just kind of clicked. Epochal is a Christian imprint of the label. It's part of a larger body to a lot of people. It seems that it doesn't make very much sense that I would sign with a Christian imprint, but upon longer discussion, it absolutely does. And Denny kind of got that, and all of what he was doing with the label, and an artist like myself, it just made so much sense.
Oh, right on. So, with this announcement, will there be new music on the horizon?
Yes, that's one of the exciting things about this. Is now I have the opportunity to record some new music and make some new videos, and be able to get have a team of people behind me that believe in me, that'll be able to get my music, my artistry out to who wants to hear it. So it's cool. It's exciting.
Oh, it definitely is, and I'm very happy for you, and I'm definitely excited to check out the new music whenever that is released. Can you kind of give some kind of hints or direction of what people can expect from this new music?
Well, if you're familiar with an album of mine like Vagabond or Wanderer was it's it's that. I don't want. There's not going to be a very, big change in the music that I write. Yeah. So if you're sonically looking for what's in my head, it's all the music from the past. I mean, just listen to what I've released in the past 5-10 years.
Oh, right on. Well, again, as I said, I'm very excited for you with everything, and I definitely been digging, your current kind of direction with music. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
Thank you.
But also transitioning. So you're currently on the God Bless America tour. I believe 55 tour dates in the United States. So what can people expect from this tour if they haven't seen you live?
These shows are cool. I'm there from the time the doors are open till everyone gets kicked out. So I hang out with everybody. I'm around. I hang out. I love watching the opening bands. It's a very interactive sort of experience. And then I get up on stage and I do my acoustic performance and I tell stories. I answer questions. Sometimes people are they're burning with questions. They have to know things. So people ask questions. I tell stories. It's a very interactive sort of thing. Sometimes I'm more talkative than other nights, but it's an awesome time. It's a really awesome time.
Oh, it definitely sounds like that. So, when people ask you questions, do just during the set, or is there a certain time?
Nah, just during the set. In between songs, people sometimes will just shout out questions like, "Oh man, why is Shining about Carol Ann and not Poltergeist?" So it's fun.
Has there ever been a question that surprised you just how good of a question it was?
Every now and again, there's people will ask questions that that are real like deep cut, you know, like how'd you know that? What? No.
Well, that is cool. It sounds like a very like intimate and just really cool experience with everything that you are doing. So obviously, with that, I did want to talk about this because obviously, with the news, especially with this tour and previous tours in the past, obviously you've had some venues cancel, had some shows cancel. I believe all your UK shows unfortunately were canceled earlier this year. With that, like if you had like the opportunity to like talk to these people that are like protesting you and talking about you online, what would you want them to know?
Well, a lot of the people that are doing the talking online and having these shows canceled, it doesn't matter what you say to them. It's not going to change their heart or change their mind. But like Johnny Cash once said, I have the choice between choosing between love and hate. And Johnny Cash said, I choose love. I choose love every time. That's what I say. I choose love. I choose bringing people together. Like I just described the show. When you come to a Michale Graves show, it's great. I hang out with people. I talk to people. I listen to their stories. I answer their questions. There's lots of hugging and handshaking and laughing and smiling. And, and the music is, obviously it's emotive and everyone is expressing themselves. I never have a problem with other artists and what they want to say and what they want to do, even if I don't agree with it. There's plenty of places that that I know that the promoters or some of the artists are maybe they differ in perspective than me, but that's okay. That's totally all right. I was brought up that way. I came up in the music industry in that way, in a very, very, very diverse environment, with the Misfits. And even beforehand, I was a theater kid. So, I was with all the weirdos and the Misfits and I went to an alternative high school, after I was, after I got kicked out, I left high school, whatever. So, I've never been into the whole identity politic thing. I've never been a punk rocker or a metal guy or this or that. I'm a very John the Baptist sort of, milk and honey out in the wilderness sort of by myself guy. I'm just me, and I'm not trying to change anybody's mind about anything, other than their salvation perhaps and knowing Jesus. But other than that, I'm a pretty accepting, loving person, and I would much rather be doing things to heal and bring people together and raise them up than to be fighting. I don't want to fight anybody.
I could definitely feel that, and kind of just for me speaking, personally, for me, I've interviewed people who I disagree with, and I've interviewed people I agree with, and it's kind of what I like to tell people is like, if you just listen to the same people who talk about the same points, you're not going to learn anything, you're not going to grow, and you're not going to strengthen your convictions or change your mind. To me, I'm all about growth. I'm all about learning new things, and the only way to do that is to talk to different people.
I love that. I agree with that, and that's a beautiful perspective. It's a great way to be.
Oh, for sure. It definitely is. And I've grown as a person just by doing, this is my 7th year doing this. And I've grown as a person just by interacting and talking to different people.
Yeah.
And I always find it kind of weird. People just want to close off their mind just to certain ideas or certain styles of music or certain things like that. You're not helping yourself. You're only hindering yourself.
Indeed.
So, but I do got a few more things about this current tour I did want to highlight before I transition to other aspects of your career. So I'm very curious for you, currently in the set right now, what is your favorite song to perform live?
That's a great question. My favorite one to perform. I really like playing the harmonica. So I love playing all the troubles because it's got a harmonica part in it. I kind of dig. I know it might sound, maybe some people won't believe me, but I love playing Dig Up Her Bones. And because every time I get to perform it, for one person that wants to hear it or thousands of people that want to hear it. Man, it's just awesome because I'm immediately brought back to the place that song came from. I was 16. I was very, very young. I wrote that song never ever imagining it becoming what it's become. And so like anytime I started and I play that first chord, man, it's like I'm in this time machine and I go all the way back. And then as I play the song, I'm able to go like all the way through my life to the present moment. And I see all sorts of things, and I all the people that have sung it before. It's just this awesome, amazing thing. And I'm humbled by it, and I'm just in awe of it. And so it's like it's like a privilege to be able to play that song. It's really amazing.
Oh, I can imagine. With that, now I am curious because obviously that's electric guitar like punk style for Dig Up Her Bones, but like with this tour, I believe being acoustic, do you have to like change any of the parts, or you just play it like straight?
I play it sort of differently. How Doyle's like, but with it's just like. I'll pick it through like that. So it's not hard in driving, but it's just emotive, and it trots and walks and moves. And that's, when people come to see me on these acoustic shows, with the live shows, right? You can move around, you can dance, and it's like, whoa. But with the more intimate shows, with the acoustic shows, there's that, but it's more of an emotional experience where you can sort of just close your eyes and kind of get lost in the songs. I do Shining, I play Scream, Crying on Saturday Night, Descending Angels, and it's almost like you're extracting that, like the physical energy. The Misfits were very, very physical band, very physical. We trained like we were a football team, and I was expected to have the ferocity of that. But that is encapsulated just in the sound and the emotions that come out. That's the trick. I sit down, so like I can't move the way that I do on stage, and so that the challenge is to grab all of that, like all of that ferocity, all of that energy, all of that emotion, and somehow get that out off the stage and into people's hearts and minds. And that's why the songs like these shows are so powerful.
Oh, it definitely sounds like it. Now it is, obviously you mentioned some killer Misfits songs that you do incorporate in the set. And like, for me, this is a question I'm like very genuinely curious about for your perspective. Because like I enjoy American Psycho, I enjoy Famous Monsters. Songs that you mentioned, like I still listen to this day, like Dig Up Her Bones, Scream, Saturday Night, just to name a few. But like when I talk to other people, especially about the Misfits, there's always some kind of weird vibe, especially about your era of the band. Yeah. Do you think like people overlook like American Psycho and Famous Monsters, like in the overall Misfits like discography?
I get to talk to a lot of fans, so it doesn't seem like it. And when I play in Latin America and even in America, I see young people all the time that 16, 17, 18-year-old, 20-something-year-olds, young people that are listening to this music that are discovering it, along with all the other people that know it. I do believe that Famous Monsters, American Psycho, that era of the Misfits, for some reason, is memory hold in a lot of the media. And I think what's happening with Glenn and Jerry and Doyle playing, I think that might be an intentional thing, not to I don't think that it's a malicious sort of thing like Michael and that era. Maybe a little bit with some outlets and some writers, but I don't know. It's like the best kept sort of secret. Again, I know that there's a lot of the focus on Glenn dancing, and even when you read about those guys and playing, and they give the whole bio. It's never mentioned that there was anything that ever happened in the 90s with the Misfits. And on one hand, like, I understand that, and on the other hand, I don't, because if it wasn't for the 90s Misfits, if it wasn't for my input and the things that I did and the things that we did together, the Misfits would certainly be nowhere near where they are currently today. Dig Up Her Bones just went gold certified in January, along with two of the older Misfits. I think it was like Last Caress, and I think it was Hybrid Moments. But so that just goes to show the power of the music that we made. So I don't know why it's sort of in memory hold like that. I think maybe we got to get Glenn Danzig on the line. We should ask him.
Well, that would be cool.
That would be awesome. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'd totally fanboy out. I'm a huge Glenn Danzig fan and a huge Misfits fan. Aside of being the singer, I'm a big fan.
Did you ever meet Danzig? Did you have the opportunity to meet him?
No, really? But I want to. I came close when I played with Doyle in the early 2000s when he was opening up for Glenn. I was in the same building as him, but man, I want to meet him so bad. I want to meet him so bad. I want to shake his hand.
Wow, it's interesting. Yeah, but it's kind of going back to my point. But yeah, it does seem, especially like when I do talk to like Misfit fans, that like there seems to be some, I don't want to say downplay, but it's like they know the classic albums, they know what they're doing now, but like not many people, except like obviously the fans who come out to support you, but like outside of that, it seems like people don't like to talk about those two albums. And to me, I really enjoy both of them.
Great records. And I think that if you ask great musicians like James Hetfield, for example, American Psycho is one of his favorite records of all time.
Exactly. A few more things about the Misfits I did want to have your perspective on.
Sure.
So like obviously we're talking about the 90s and like how the Misfits like came back more mainstream in the 90s. Like you guys appeared on WCW, World Championship Wrestling. And I have to ask, I'm as a wrestling fan, as a co-host for a wrestling podcast, the Pro Wrestling Collective, I have to ask, like, was there like the expectation that you would become a pro wrestler when you joined the Misfits?
No.
So how'd that happen?
No. It was Jerry Only's fault. It was Jerry Only and Vampiro. It was their fault. Okay. The band ran into Vampiro while they were in Mexico, and Jerry and Vampiro hatched a plan to have the Misfits appear with Vampiro on WCW. Vamp had appeared with like Insane Clown Posse, and I think there was somebody else as well. But I was excited because I didn't really want to be a wrestler. Like, I love wrestling. I grew up on Hulk Hogan and Roddy Piper, George the Animal Steel, Iron Sheik, like all those guys, like Andre the Giant. And I remember the first WrestleMania, man, like a huge wrestling fan. But I didn't want to be a wrestler because I'm not that big of a guy. When we were doing that, like I was big, but I was, like 5'9", 178 pounds, 179 pounds, maybe like, built like a wide receiver. These guys are monsters. And so I tried to steer away from all that. But I did have natural talent, and guys like Randy, Macho Man, had noticed me, and, obviously Vampiro, and wanted me to do more. But what I wanted to do, what was really exciting, that I was trying to work towards, was to take wrestling entertainment and music, and like the music that we were doing, because we were monsters. We were like these weird aliens from a different planet. And we were so visual that I wanted to take what wrestling was doing and the characters and the stories that they were doing, and sort of bring it to another level with music, and start to tell stories through music videos, the way that the Misfits were very story driven in what we were doing. And so that's what I wanted to focus on, unfortunately the company was in a bad spot, and then, they were merging with WWF at that point. It was just a really weird time, and things kind of fell apart, and we never really got to see the vision through. But it was fun, man. It was a lot of fun. Again, like I said, I certainly was excited about the opportunities that I would have, and were fostering. But I was much more interested in wanting to develop the music and the visual side of that, and adding the music elements into wrestling entertainment. I don't want to get my head busted open, man. These guys are killers.
Oh yeah, I've definitely met a few, and yes, they are. They
take that shit serious.
Oh yeah.
And I was tiny. Like, Doyle was small. Like, you walked around and, Jerry's real big, right? I mean, Jerry's big, thick. He's like a Mack truck. And again, Doyle obviously is no small man. And like, I remember we would walk around and be like, oh my God, dude, like, look at you. You're like a bitch compared to these guys. And we would laugh, man. We would laugh because he's like, fuck yeah, man. Yeah.
So with the last question about wrestling, I do want to talk about a few other things, but were you guys like touring at this time? So there would be Monday, Nitro on Mondays, and then if something were to happen to you, you'd still have to continue the tour, correct?
100%. Yeah. Yep. Sick, hurt, sad, mad. The show must go on.
Touring as a musician is grueling enough, but like having to wrestle on top of that plus tour at the same time, I could not imagine.
Yeah, and again, we were a very, very physical band. So we were going hard every night. We weren't just doing the Jim Morrison thing. Jim Morrison just walk out there, stand in front of the microphone for an hour, and then, walk away. I had dreams of doing that.
Yeah, I don't think that would fit the vibe of the Misfits at all.
No. Darn. Dang.
But also going along with that, so like obviously for like watching like other interviews, and you've been very honestly, and during this interview as well, like open and honest about your time with the Misfits. So both good and bad for your experiences with the Misfits. So I'm curious for you, like knowing everything like going through your experience with the Misfits, both good and bad. Would you have still joined them, or would you have like considered like other career aspects?
No, I would have definitely joined them, and I wouldn't have left. I wouldn't have quit. Yeah. I would have seen it through.
With walking away from the Misfits, was that your choice?
It was. Whatever you've heard, any stories, I wasn't fired. I left. I left on my own volition. It was a really difficult situation. I'm not saying that what was happening internally with the band was comfortable or right. It was very dysfunctional. It was very uncomfortable. It wasn't a very productive environment. Nonetheless, I decided to leave with Chud that night.
Do you regret that decision?
I do. I do. I know that, if I didn't make that decision, then I wouldn't have my children, and whatever. But I do. That's one of the decisions in my life that I regret. I regret how that went down.
So I'm kind of curious. So like, that again, like this just hypothetical, but like, what would have been like the direction if you would have stayed with the band?
Oh man, we were poised to be. We were going to make some really amazing stuff. So, you can sort of chart our course by listening to a song like I think they were on Cuts from the Crypt, Fiend Without a Face, which was part of George Romero's last film. So Fiend Without a Face, and there was a song that we wrote. I haven't dared to. We wrote it for some movie. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it, but it was for like a campfire stories movie. And at the end, there's this rant that I do. Again, it's very Jim Morrison. But we were really starting to really find our way. Dynamic songs like Helena. we really found the soft side of the Misfits. What we can do a song like "Crying on Saturday Night," which was like Legacy of Brutality, like Static Age sort of esque. I believe we started to hit stride because during Famous Monsters and then after Famous Monsters, like I was like the main writer. Like I was the strongest writer. I really leaned in the direction that I thought that we should go. And then, the other guys had some songs here and riffs, and, Chud was a strong writer. But by the time we got to Famous Monsters, we figured out where everybody's strengths were and how they wrote and the kind of song. It really was we figured out how to collaborate with each other, I think, without killing each other. And we learned how to fight for different things. So we were really poised to be in a great creative spot. I think one of the things that tore the Misfits apart was that there was no outside guy, like a manager or a whomever that would able to, like a mama chicken, just get us all together and say, everybody just calm the fuck down for 2 seconds. I was 20 something years old. I was just out of high school when I joined the band. I was out of my friggin' mind, and I'm the lead singer. So like, I'm very emotional. I have, sometimes I get a little diva, especially back then. But there was nobody to rein me in and sit me down and talk to me. There was no one to be able to rein Jerry in and sit down and talk to him. All of us. There was no main coach that could keep the team together and say, you guys are great. You were one of the greatest bands out there with the music that we're putting out and our live performances. And the wheels came off the bus. So we were heading in a really great direction. So Fiend Without a Face and that other song that I can't remember the name of it, but it's on Cuts from the Crypt.
Well, I got you with that, and obviously it would have been interesting to see just the direction with everything, but obviously things did not work out with that. But I appreciate you sharing with everything. I appreciate your time with everything. I do have, if you got a few extra minutes, I do have one.
Yeah, sure.
One question that I really wanted to ask you as we're talking about your music career and some of the albums that you've appeared on. So I'm curious for you, like, what is the album throughout your career? Like, what's like the album that you were most proud of?
It's like asking like which of my children I'm most proud of. I could probably formulate an answer too if I really thought about it.
Luckily, I did not ask that question.
That'll be next time.
Yeah, next interview.
The one that I'm most proud of, that's a tough question. I guess When Worlds Collide, I'm pretty proud of that. I think American Psycho. If I had to think about it, which I just did past 30 seconds. I think American Psycho, and because my whole life led up to that, and I was so afraid, I was really scared when I was making that record because, oh my God, I was signed to Geffen Records. I was the lead singer of the Misfits. There was a lot on me, and I was so scared because I didn't think that I had a great voice. I thought I had a good voice. Like I have a good voice. Like I can do this. Like, I can really feel like I can do it, but I would listen back and I'd be like, oh, God. Ugh. And I worked real hard. Don Lawrence, who's my coach, my teacher, my Yoda, he came in the studio and helped produce and taught me so much stuff, man. Again, like Yoda. Like, I picture him, like, on my back. I'm walking around the studio. And I remember writing for that album, and it was just... Yeah, I think American Psycho. It was like I had arrived. So my firstborn, American Psycho, is what I feel most proud of.
Well, that's a fantastic answer with that, and that's like, again, as someone who enjoys that era of the Misfits, like American Psycho, Famous Monsters, it was. I enjoyed it because it was different, from like that previous incarnation of the original Misfits. but it still retained like some of that familiarity with it as well.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the fact that we were able to go with the themes, you know, because I was the one that read American Psycho, and I had read it years before, like when it first came out, and it was it had such an impact on me, and it had such an impact on culture as well, and I really wanted to tap into the zeitgeist. And I was 20 years old, 21 years old, and those guys were older. You know, Jerry and Doyle at the time were married. Jerry had young kids. So, you know, I was 20 something years old. So I was a kid. Like, I was out in the world going to shows. You know, I knew a thing or two about the culture. And so for me to bleed all that into the music and the themes, and to have the album then called American Psycho, and they didn't know what American Psycho really was. You know, none of them had read the book at all. And obviously the movie wasn't out yet. So yeah, very, very proud that now that you ask and I think about it, I'm very proud. Right on. Appreciate that.
For sure, for sure. Hey, that's what we do here. So now, as we're closing out this interview again, Michael, it's been fantastic to chat with you. I really appreciate your time. So we are just just started in April. So what is like the rest of this year, 2026, looking like for you?
Well, I'm picking up in California after this spring break. I'm spending with my family, my wonderful wife and my children here on our farm. So I'll be here for this Easter week, and then I pick up again next week in California. So the rest of this year is going to be as many shows as I can possibly play again. But after the shows in California, I'm going to spend some time in Nashville and do some recording. I'm going to record some new stuff to get out right away. I'm going to record a video. I think I'm going to film the video back here at the farm. So in between all of that, I've been working on I have like 3 books going at once. So I'm working on I'm working on books. I'm working on these scripts that I'm writing, these films that I want to make. The larger album as well that I want to eventually release. The launch of Monster Ministry, which is part of the whole Christian imprint. It's a ministry called the Monsters Ministry. There'll be a lot more on that in the future. So we're pulling that all together and forming the new band to take advantage of the opportunities within the faith-based Christian music world, which still, it's like what the Joker said, wait till they get a load of me. So it's an exciting time. We're going to see if maybe I can get canceled out of the Christian music scene like I did the punk scene, and we'll see what happens. I think just keep smiling through the whole thing.
Well, we'll have to see if that is the case or not. But for everyone watching, where are the best place to find Michale Graves online?
officialmichaelgraves.com. If you go to officialmichaelgraves.com, it's where everything is. There is the real Michale Graves at Instagram. That's actually me. This is like my 7th account. The real Michale Graves, and I have an account on X at Radio Deadly. It's at Radio Deadly.
Well, very good. I'll leave some links for Michale Graves in the description of this podcast. But Michael, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio.
You're welcome. I love Super Cool Radio.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
dude.
For Michale Graves, I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.